This is Planning Your I Do from You Had Me at I Do. For over a quarter century, You Had Me at I Do has been helping couples say, I do. We bring more than 400 weddings of real-world experience as an officiant and a DJ, and this podcast is packed with what you, as the bride and groom, need to know, what you're wondering about, and what's keeping you up at night. No judgment, no fluff, just real answers and ideas for real planning. Here's today's episode.
So imagine you're choreographing a live play, right? But the actors are your most emotional, stressed out relatives.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Right. And there are absolutely 0-second takes. You know, you're standing there at the venue, the music is swelling. Every single eye is glued to the back doors waiting for them to swing open. And your heart is just beating out of your chest. I mean, that is exactly what a wedding processional is.
It really is. It's a lot of pressure.
It's massive. So today, we are taking a deep dive into demystifying this highly visible moment. We're pulling some brief, really practical insights from You Had Me at I Do.
Okay, great.
And we're taking the approach that the processional isn't some rigid ancient rule book that you're just forced to endure.
Right.
Instead, we're really treating it as a highly customizable planning and rehearsal puzzle.
Yeah, I love that framing because the overarching reality of the processional is, well, it's surprisingly simple, right? The ultimate goal is just getting down the aisle.
Literally just getting from point A to point B.
Exactly. You start at the back of the room and you end at the front. But the why and the how of that physical movement, that dictates the emotional tone for the entire day.
Yeah.
It's really the opening scene of your marriage.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the way you choose to enter that space, it communicates your core values, the reality of your relationships, and just the vision you hold for your partnership moving forward.
But, I mean, if you walk into like 90% of weddings today, you're going to see a very specific, totally recognizable traffic pattern.
Oh, absolutely.
And before we start breaking all the rules and, rewriting the script to fit your specific life, we have to look at why we're all so glued to this one specific flow in the first place.
Right.
You have to understand the architecture of the house before you start knocking down walls.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So there are basically 3 traditional templates that dominate modern ceremonies. And, analyzing them kind of reveals the underlying psychology of the whole event.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sure. So the first is the Christian-style processional, which is also heavily utilized as the standard secular format.
Right. It's the one we see in all the movies.
Exactly. So in the structure, the officiant and the groom take their places at the front first.
Okay.
Then the groomsmen might escort the bridesmaids down the aisle in pairs, or they could enter from a side door.
Gotcha.
Following them, the best man and the maid of honor process. Then the ring bearer and the flower girl.
The cute kids, yeah.
Yeah, the kids. And finally, the bride enters, traditionally escorted by a parent or parents.
So the psychology there, it's really all about a visual crescendo.
Yes, exactly.
You start by establishing the foundation at the altar with the officiant and the groom, and then layer by layer, the anticipation builds. It creates this sort of funnel of attention that ultimately focuses entirely on the final entrance.
Right. But then you look at, say, the Jewish-style template, and the emotional focus completely shifts away from that single dramatic reveal.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, the Jewish-style template is rooted in a really profound honoring of the broader community and the family units that are actually joining together.
Okay.
So in this format, both sets of parents may be escorted to their seats first. Then the groom's party processes, and the groom himself is typically escorted by both of his parents.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Then the bride's party follows, and then the bride is escorted by both of her parents.
So everyone is really involved.
Very involved. And crucially, there is this beautiful, deeply symbolic moment at the end where the bride circles the groom before they join together.
I love that.
It really is. The circling physically represents the creation of a new shared world, defining the boundaries of the new home they're building.
That is so cool. It's way less about a theatrical reveal and much more about demonstrating the generational support system physically surrounding the couple.
Exactly.
And then, okay, so the third template is the simple secular approach, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of strips away almost all of the pageantry.
Yeah, it's very straightforward.
The officiant enters first and takes their place. Then the wedding party enters in literally any chosen order.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Right, it could be individually, in pairs, or just all at once.
Yeah.
Then partner 1 enters, followed by partner 2. There's no requirement that anyone be, quote-unquote, given away. It's incredibly clean.
Very clean.
But, I mean, this brings up a massive contradiction to me.
What do you mean?
Well, if everyone today wants a hyper-personalized, totally unique event, why do these rigid templates even still exist? Like, why do we keep falling back on these specific formations?
It's a great question, and honestly, it really comes down to human psychology combined with spatial physics.
Spatial physics.
Yeah. I mean, these templates survive because they work flawlessly in a physical space.
Yeah.
They are essentially logistical tools designed to manage the flow of a highly anxious, large group of people in a very short amount of time.
Well, that makes sense. People are stressed.
Exactly. They naturally space people out, which prevents this chaotic traffic jam at the altar. Furthermore, they give photographers the exact amount of time and physical clearance they need to capture each entry without people overlapping in the frame.
Oh, of course, the photos. So they're essentially just crowd control mechanisms wrapped in tradition.
That's exactly what they are.
So they're the starting line, not the finish line.
Yeah.
Because if they're just tools for spacing and capturing photos, you can solve the logistics while completely rewriting the narrative to reflect who you actually are.
Absolutely. Not every family fits neatly into a demographic template.
Well, definitely not.
And forcing them into one usually just creates tension. The intentionality behind your choices can completely override tradition.
Yeah.
Like, one of the most striking variations of the processional is walking solo.
Yeah.
When one partner walks themselves down the aisle, it makes a really clear, undeniably powerful statement without a single word being spoken.
It really projects total autonomy.
Yes. It says, I am choosing this commitment and I am stepping into it on my own 2 feet.
You know, think about a real scenario I read about recently. A bride had lost her father, and instead of finding an uncle or a brother to act as a stand-in for that traditional escort role, she just walked alone.
Oh.
But she carried her late father's handkerchief tightly wrapped around her bouquet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. The emotional weight of that moment was profound because it was so intentionally hers. Nobody sitting in the audience was wondering where the traditional escort was because her autonomy and her tribute just filled the entire space.
Exactly. And prioritizing that kind of emotional truth over traditional expectations, that is the ultimate goal of customizing your processional.
Yeah.
Another option that honors emotional truth is being escorted by both parents.
Which I love seeing.
It works beautifully when you want to visually honor a mom and a dad who both actively raised you. Or, if both relationships hold equal weight in your life.
Sure. Logistically, though, 2 escorts means you need a significantly wider aisle, right?
Oh, yeah. You definitely have to coordinate how 3 people will fit navigating the space seamlessly. But the emotional payoff of having the 2 people who shaped your life walking by your side is immense.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Walking in together as a couple.
Oh, yes.
Both partners entering at the exact same time, hand in hand. This completely shifts the narrative away from the historical concept of being transferred or given away,
Completely.
And it turns the entrance into a bold declaration of equal partnership. You're setting the tone for the entire ceremony immediately, declaring to the room that you are navigating this transition together.
It fundamentally alters the energy in the room. I mean, guests are socially conditioned to wait for that one final suspenseful reveal.
Right. Everyone turns around.
But when you enter together, you break that tension and replace it with a feeling of unified strength. And, the people walking beside you, if you have escorts, they do not have to be parents at all.
No, you can choose a sibling, a grandparent, a mentor, or even your own children to walk with you. It's exactly like casting the most meaningful supporting role in a film. You would never cast someone just because they happen to fit a demographic profile on a piece of paper.
No, of course not.
You cast them because they have the right chemistry, the deepest bond with the lead character. So choosing your escort should be based entirely on real-world bonds, not outdated etiquette charts from 50 years ago.
Right. And the moment you begin casting based on those real-world bonds, you inevitably crash into the intense complexities of family dynamics.
Oh, boy.
Customizing who walks you down the aisle is very straightforward in theory, but the emotional puzzle of blended families requires really careful, intentional navigation.
Look, if you're planning your wedding right now, you are probably dreading this exact conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Who walks whom? Where does a stepfather sit? Does the biological father process if the stepfather is the primary person who raised you? It just feels like a minefield of potential hurt feelings and lifelong resentments.
It really can be. Navigating that minefield requires practical, compassionate compromises. So let's look at the escort dilemma first.
Okay.
If a bride is deeply connected to both her biological father and her stepfather, there are several ways to honor both men without creating a competition.
That's key.
Right. She could walk with her father and her stepfather together, taking one on each arm.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Yeah. Alternatively, she might choose to walk down the aisle with one of them, while the other waits at the front of the aisle to give a special blessing or a meaningful reading before she reaches the officiant.
Oh, I like that a lot.
It works really well. And another highly effective option is having the parents and step-parents process to their seats entirely separately before the wedding party even begins.
Okay, yeah.
This gives each individual a distinct, isolated moment of recognition from the guests.
That makes a lot of sense. But seating arrangements add another massive layer to this puzzle. The first row of any ceremony is traditionally reserved for immediate family.
Right.
But what does immediate family even mean in the modern world?
Well, the answer to that is incredibly liberating, actually. The definition of immediate family belongs entirely to the couple.
Okay.
You dictate the boundaries of your inner circle. It is perfectly acceptable and honestly increasingly common for that first row to include step-parents, half-siblings, or chosen family members who hold that level of importance in your life.
Let me push back on this, though.
Sure.
You're planning a massive, expensive event. You're already dealing with caterers, fighting with budgets, managing vendor contracts.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Isn't it completely exhausting to also have to play family therapist and tiptoe around everyone's fragile feelings?
It is an incredible burden, I won't lie, but here is the critical reframe you have to adopt. You do not need to ask anyone for permission for your choices, but you do need to communicate those choices with care.
So it's about the communication, not the permission.
Exactly. The root cause of hurt feelings at weddings is rarely the actual logistical decision the couple made. The anger almost always stems from the surprise.
It is the silent assumptions people make in their own heads that get shattered on the actual day of the wedding.
The ambiguity is what breeds the drama. People just fill the silence with their own expectations.
Exactly. Providing absolute clarity prevents those assumptions from taking root. If you want your stepfather sitting in the front row, you must give your ushers explicit, written instructions on who sits where.
Don't leave it up to chance.
Right. If you tell your biological father 3 months ahead of time that you want him to walk you down the aisle and that you are also honoring your stepfather with a reading during the ceremony, you give everyone a clear, defined role.
Yeah.
Removing the surprise reduces the anxiety, which instantly diffuses the tension.
That is such good advice. But, you can solve all the emotional family puzzles in the world. You can communicate perfectly with your parents. But if your maid of honor wipes out on a gravel path because of a pacing issue, the elegance of the moment is instantly gone.
Completely gone.
Yeah.
The emotional puzzle only matters if the physical execution works. Which brings us to the actual choreography of the walk. This hinges entirely on pacing and terrain. The absolute golden rule of spacing is the 5 to 10 second rule. You have to leave 5 to 10 seconds between each entrance.
You do. And the underlying mechanism there is really fighting human biology.
Biology.
Yes. When you're nervous, standing at the back of a venue with hundreds of people staring at you, your fight or flight response kicks in.
Oh, for sure.
Adrenaline floods your system, and your brain screams at you to move fast to escape the high-pressure situation. Because of that adrenaline, standing still for 10 seconds feels agonizingly slow.
It feels like a lifetime.
It does. But to the guests sitting in the chairs and to the photographer trying to frame a clean shot, it looks incredibly elegant and deliberate.
Right.
If you rush it, the photographer gets a beautiful picture of the maid of honor, but the best man's shoulder is blocking half the frame because he was stepping right on her heels.
Which is exactly why the rehearsal reality is non-negotiable. You have to walk to the actual music during the rehearsal.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't just stand in a circle, point fingers, and tell people where to go. The person running the rehearsal has to call each entrance out loud, physically telling the groomsmen and bridesmaids to go.
Right.
And then forcing everyone to stand there and wait that full 10 seconds before sending the next pair.
Yeah.
It builds the physical muscle memory needed to override that rush of adrenaline on the actual day.
And the physical destination is just as critical as the pacing.
Oh, where they end up.
Exactly. Where is everyone going when they finally reach the front of the aisle? Do the bridesmaids fan out on the left and the groomsmen on the right?
Do they all stand in a rigid single-file line?
Right. Or do they skip standing all together and just take a seat in the front row? All of those choices are perfectly fine, but the decision must be locked in beforehand.
Yeah.
A groomsman arriving at the front and nervously looking around in a panic because he doesn't know where to stand, that shatters the illusion of effortless grace.
Totally. And while we're talking about physical realities, the terrain is a massive factor. I read a highly cautionary story about a bridesmaid who nearly fell flat on her face in front of 200 people.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she had not broken in her heels, and she was trying to navigate a loose gravel path that she had never walked on before.
That is a nightmare.
If your venue has a circular aisle, a long outdoor walk across grass, or uneven stone steps, you must rehearse in the exact shoes you are actually going to wear on the day.
The physics of a stiletto heel on loose gravel or soft earth will instantly ruin a processional if you're not prepared for it.
So what does this all mean for you when you're staring down your rehearsal day schedule? It means rehearsing the pacing and the terrain is exactly like testing a parachute.
Okay, yeah.
You do not wait until you are jumping out of the airplane to see if the straps fit correctly and if the ripcord works.
Please don't.
Right. You test them meticulously on the ground so that when you're finally in the air, you can just let go and enjoy the view.
And once you have thoroughly tested that parachute, once you have solved the intricate family puzzle and rehearsed the pacing deeply, you reach the most vital phase of the entire process.
Which is?
Relinquishing control.
Ah, the hardest part.
It is. But on the actual day of the wedding, the couple cannot be responsible for running this complex machine. The officiant, or a dedicated wedding coordinator, must be the one to cue the music and direct the movement. The officiant essentially becomes the air traffic controller for the entire operation.
I feel sheer relief just thinking about handing that responsibility over.
You should.
Your only job in those final moments before the doors open should be breathing, holding hands, and getting your heart ready to say your vows. You should absolutely not be standing in the back vestibule, checking your watch, trying to calculate when to nod at the string quartet.
No, absolutely not. To successfully hand over that control, you have to provide a written processional order to the officiant well in advance. It needs exact names, the specific pairings, and highly detailed times or musical cues. You do not just write that the wedding party enters.
You need more than that.
Much more. You write out that the flower girl and the ring bearer enter together, specifically escorted by the junior bridesmaid, exactly when the chorus of the song begins. You leave absolutely nothing to chance on the page.
But the true hidden value of having the officiant act as the air traffic controller is their ability to be flexible when things inevitably go completely off script.
Because they will.
Because no matter how much you plan, reality always throws a curveball.
Yeah.
What if a grandmother needs a little extra time to get down the aisle with her walker?
A good officiant stalls the music.
Right. What if the groomsmen accidentally swap places in line right before they walk out?
The officiant adapts the formation at the altar seamlessly.
Exactly. What if a literal thunderstorm is visibly rolling in over an outdoor venue? They speed the entire pacing up to beat the rain.
A thoughtfully planned processional, backed by a flexible, observant officiant, will always beat a rigid, inflexible plan that shatters into pieces the moment one single detail shifts.
Yeah.
The officiant knows the ultimate end goal, they understand the visual spacing, and they have the authority to make micro adjustments in real time so that you never even realized there was a logistical hiccup.
It is entirely about trusting the professionals you put in place, allowing yourself to actually experience the ceremony rather than managing it.
Synthesizing all of these elements, the core message is beautifully straightforward.
Tell me.
The processional is the opening scene of your ceremony. It establishes the emotional atmosphere before a single word of the ceremony is spoken.
Yeah.
You start with a basic logistical template, you bend it and mold it until it accurately reflects the truth of your family, you rehearse the physical pacing deeply, and then you completely let it go and let the officiant take the wheel. When we look back at what makes a wedding genuinely memorable for the guests and the couple, it is never the ceremonies that followed an old etiquette textbook flawlessly.
Never. It is always the highly specific, deeply personal choices.
Absolutely.
It is the groom dancing down the aisle to break the tension and make his nervous partner laugh, or the bride who chose to walk with her golden retriever because that dog was genuinely her family.
I love that.
Those are the authentic moments that stick in people's minds long after the day is over.
Because those choices are undeniably true to the couple, rather than being a performance for the crowd.
Absolutely. So I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you navigate your own planning.
Okay.
If the processional is this grand opening scene, a highly visible moment that boldly declares exactly who you are as you enter into this commitment. If it declares exactly who you are as you enter this commitment, what does the way you choose to exit your recessional say about the new life you are walking into together?
You've been listening to Planning Your I Do from You Had Me at I Do. Show notes, planning help, and ceremony support are at youhadmeatido.com/podcast. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and send it to a bride friend who needs answers instead of more stress at 2 in the morning. Thanks for listening.